Who jumps out of perfectly good airplanes in the name of science? Mr. C.
Well, happy Tuesday to you, and my question for you is, a couple of questions for you. Number one, did you watch any of the National Football League championship games yesterday? I watched a bit of the first one right at the end, the last quarter, and a lot of the Kansas City-Buffalo game. And I've got my Vikings hat on today because I'm in denial. So I'm pretending that the Vikings are in the playoffs. Actually, I'm not. But anyway, I'm celebrating the National Football League wearing my Vikings hat. And the Super Bowl, 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from day before yesterday. So now what you have to know is I taped Monday's lesson on Sunday, on the day that the championship games were played. And I'm taping Tuesdays now, Monday about 4:20 p.m. So that's why. So anyway, Super Bowl coming up in a couple of weeks. That'll be kind of fun. So, and I'm sure some of you will watch. So, and maybe even have Super Bowl parties at your house. Social distancing, of course. Now, question, Mr. C, do we need our journals today? Duh, of course. So journal out, ready to write in it, ready to show Mr. Phillip that you have a certain section. So you might want to have it open right off the bat to the Divine Design section. And then, Mr. C, do we have to put homework in our lesson planner? Does it snow in Alaska and sometimes even in Arizona? So not much this year, but maybe tonight, which is Monday night, and maybe tomorrow morning. Now, I heard that, and I'll find out, that some of you might even get a little bit of snow up in North Scottsdale. So we shall see. I'll come back to that in a minute. And the storm that's supposed to bring us quite a bit of precipitation in the high country, in the mountains. So this is just a reminder, and you'll want to put this in your lesson planner. Pop quiz coming. I'm not going to tell you when. Could be tomorrow, could be Thursday. And a very big quiz or a small test on Friday. The pop quiz is mainly going to be focused on, in fact, only focused on the metric system. So you will especially want to focus on it. So more on the metric system in just a little bit, more reminders about what I might ask on the pop quiz. Okay, to the weather. So supposedly it's going to snow 2 to 3 feet in the high country at the highest elevations. So, Lord, please let it be. The more precipitation we get in the form of snow in the high country, the more that's going to end up in the form of runoff, snow melt, and then runoff into our reservoirs. So all the better for us, so the more the better. So I'll ask you this question on the test on Friday. What kind of precipitation do we always want for our reservoirs? Snow, of course. I've asked you this several times before. Now I've got a photo up for you. I hope I'll be able to actually show it to you. I talked to you about when we had big snowstorms in North Dakota and South Dakota where I lived growing up as a kid. So I could say to all of you, just like your parents sometimes say to you, well, when I was a kid, and then they tell you a story. So here's mine. When I was a kid, we had snow drifts higher than the ceiling. and we actually did. And I hope the snowdrift photo is up, because we had similar pictures like the photo that you're looking at, where we actually could tunnel through the snowdrift, and it was so high we could walk through the snowdrift. So anyway, that happened several times in North Dakota and one time in South Dakota. And I told you in North Dakota we had such big snowdrifts once. We probably had a couple of feet of snow, and the wind blew it into big drifts that were 10 feet high. So we could walk right up on top of the garage. You told us that before. Well, kind of like your parents do. You know, they repeat stories sometimes. I'm kidding, not your parents, but my wife and I do. You've told us that story before, Dad. So anyway, it's worth repeating. So we could actually walk up on top of the garage and then go to the back of the garage, run really fast and jump off, kind of sail off into the snowdrift. So, and do it over and over. It was, as they say in Australia, heaps of fun. Heaps of fun with the Aussie accent. So anyway, here's another photo for you. This is a photo of 4 peaks. 4 peaks are 4 mountain peaks to basically the, I'll say east, maybe north a little bit of Apache Lake, one of our reservoirs. And it's about on average, the peaks average about 7,600 feet. They're supposed to get 2 to 3 feet of snow up there. It's a rare occasion when we can see snow on 4 peaks. So after the snow is all over, and if you're out and about driving in your car, look to the east. You might get a chance to see 4 peaks and snow on it. It's fun to see with snow on it. 4 peaks. So some of you have even maybe driven up in that area, hiked in the area of 4 peaks. So now I want to tell you a couple of things about the weather. So I'm going to ask you first of all these 2 questions on your test on Friday. I'm going to ask you again, what has revolutionized weather forecasting or really improved it? Really 2 things. One of them you already have in your journal, make sure, in your little weather section. So satellite photos. So satellites take pictures of where the clouds are, show how they're moving, where they're going. It helps out. So there's that. And then on the ground we have radar that shows where the clouds are moving. So those 2 things, satellites and radar, have really helped out with forecasting the weather. So I'll ask for those 2 things. Now I'm going to ask you this too. Still, meteorologists aren't great at forecasting, predicting the weather. They're not that great at it. Still, why not? Because there's too many variables, and I'll ask you this. There's too many variables that affect the weather to get good predictions. Good predictions. Okay predictions, but not great predictions. So, too many variables. So you want to write that probably, if you haven't already, in your journal, in the micro meteorological section of your journal. And then one last question. There'll be 4 weather questions on your test on Friday. And then the last question is this: why does it, I haven't mentioned this to you recently, why does it rain and snow more at higher elevations, up on the mountain peaks? Why do they always get more snow up on the mountain peaks? Like at Snow Bowl or Sunrise in the White Mountains. Snow Bowl is at 13,000 feet, highest points in Arizona. So Snow Bowl, San Francisco peaks, okay? They always get more snow. Why so? Because it's colder up higher. And because it's colder up higher, it causes more moisture to cool or condense and wring the moisture out. So the cold air is like wringing or squeezing the clouds and getting out more moisture, rain or snow. So the reason, it's colder up higher, that squeezes out more rain or snow. So Snowbowl and Sunrise are supposed to get maybe 3 feet of snow. I hope they do. I hope the weathermen are accurate. First of all, it's just exciting here in Arizona when we get a lot of precipitation, because we usually don't get precip. And the second reason is it's great for our reservoirs, as I've told you many, many times. Better say you've told us so many times. Anyway, those are the 4 weather questions. Why does it rain or snow more? It's colder, wrings out more moisture. So why aren't meteorologists good at predicting the weather? Too many variables. Where do we want it to rain and snow? Where do we want it? In the mountains. And what form do we want it? We want it in the form of snow. So there's 4 points right there. Okay, in your journal, find your divine design section. I'm going to do a divine design a day now, every day. I'm going to try on Friday to do a little video for you, but the other days I'm just going to tell you about it. Okay? So, for starters, this is my second or third favorite divine design that I showed you on the big list. It's Earth's Just Rights. So, on the test, on Friday, I'm going to ask you for 6 to 10 just rights for the Earth. So, I think you've got this already in your divine design section. If you don't, just write down the words. Earth's just right. Earth is a Goldilocks planet. It's just right. Not too hot, not too cold, like the other planets. Just right. Not too close, not too far away. Just right. So, it's got the right temperature. It's got the right distance from the sun. It's got the right atmosphere. It's got the right ratio of gases in the atmosphere, the right thickness of the gases in the atmosphere, the right specific gases in the atmosphere. So for blocking ultraviolet light, for providing us with a gas to breathe, oxygen. So it also rotates at the right rotational speed, about 1,000 miles an hour. I'm not going to ask you. Rotates at the right speed, revolves at the right speed, about 65,000 miles an hour. So all of that just right. It's got the right magnetic field for blocking solar radiation, dangerous, harmful kinds of radiation from the sun. It's got the right amount of water, which causes the right amount of evaporation and causes the right water cycle to work. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation. It's got the right ratio of continents or land to the ocean. So that's just right. Trying to think of other things just for the Earth, the right tilt. So that's just right for seasons, for the right seasons in the northern and southern hemisphere, opposites of course. Okay, and then I'm looking to see if there are any other, that's probably a dozen for it, but also in connection with it, it's got the right mass, and it's got the right gravity. There's 2 more. So we might be up to like 14. It's got the right star. I already did distance. So its star has the right mass. Its star is made of the right gases to cause the right amount of fusion to occur, to produce the right amount of heat, to produce the right amount of light. All God did. So, and it's got the right gravity for us. All of that's just right. By the way, we have just the right bone strength. So do animals, to hold them up against the gravity. It's not an option. Not an option. I didn't want to say option. It's not an accident. So it's a God thing. So bone strength matches gravitational force on us. So we've got the right muscular strength for holding ourselves holding up our bones against the gravitational force. Anything else on the sun? The sun's traveling at the right speed around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So all of that about the sun. And then we have the right size, mass for the moon. Gravity for the moon causes the right amount of tides on the earth. Excuse me, I've got a catch in my throat. And that causes the right mixing in the oceans. So all of that, okay, is just right for the moon. So, and the moon's got the right speed around the earth. So there's way over 20 of Earth's just rights. So how many am I going to ask you for? I'm going to ask you for 6 to 10. So anyway, go over those. So I'm going to stop at this point just for a minute, a little break. Mr. Phillip will answer any questions, and then I'll do the last half of the period. So, Mr. Phillip. Okay, here we go. I am back. So those are the first two topics. I'm also going to have you write on the test, not the pop quiz, on the test on Friday, Genesis 1:26 again. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. Write it word perfect. It's probably going to be worth 2 points to encourage you to actually learn it if you haven't. It'll be worth 2 points. So you can't afford not to really get it right. Then God said, let us, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, make man in our image, in our likeness. And then I'm going to ask you what that means. And it means that God, in a number of small ways, made us like himself. So anyway, Genesis 1:26. And I'm going to ask you for a number of ways that you and I are made like God or made different from animals. We're not animals. You'll be told all your life we're animals. We're not animals. We're not. But the evolution idea says we evolved from animals. And what did Darwin know? And what do evolutionists know? It makes zero sense because we are so complex. So it's just silliness. But when you don't want to believe in a God, you believe silliness. So we understand if your soul and spirit haven't been made alive, you're not born again, you don't get it. You don't get it, so you come up with silly ways to try to figure out where you came from. It's the existential idea, right? So that smartness idea. So anyway, so I'm going to ask probably for six ways that we're like God or different from the animals. We have a soul and spirit. You've already got these down. Soul and spirit live forever, eternal. We have a will or chooser. We have a conscience, a sense of right and wrong. A personality, a unique way God designed us. We have, let's see what I put down there. I've got to think about that. Self-awareness is another one. Hyper emotions. We've got a great purpose for being alive. We have dominion over the animals. So those are a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to ask you about all of that. Okay. Then I'm going to ask you about your superpower. A number of questions on your superpower. What is it? It is, I call it, it's like your go-tappy package. Gifts, opportunities, talents, abilities, personality, your purpose. Go tap E with I on the end, the indwelling Holy Spirit who is going to lead you. All of those things you're worried about in the future, who am I going to marry? The Holy Spirit will lead you in all of that. I worried about that when I was your age, and will I get married and all of that. The Holy Spirit will lead you. The Holy Spirit just so led me in that area, to meet Mrs. C, just the right time and place, and then to allow me to marry her. Just my most massive human blessing, my wife. So anyway, here they are again, GOTAPPI, GOTAPPI. GOTAPPI. It's your superpower, but a little acronym to help you with your superpower. Go, gifts and opportunities. The Lord gives you all your opportunities in your life. We can develop them and maximize them, but God gives them to us. Excuse me. Gifts, opportunities, talents, abilities, personality, purpose, a great purpose. What is our purpose? Our purpose is to glorify God, to make God look good, and with our superpower, our superpower is to bless us, to bless others, and to bless or glorify God. So all of those. Laura's going to tell you how to develop your superpower on Thursday. Some tips on that, so that'll be really cool. Okay, I have 10 minutes to go over metric system stuff with you, and your pop quiz is going to be everything about the metric system. Reasons a metric system is so great and used by almost every country besides the United States. It's a base 10 system. You multiply and divide by 10, and there's just a few things to learn. So meter for length. This is a meter, about 39 inches, 3 inches more than a yard. That's a meter when you measure length. And then liter, and here it is. I'll stand up and get it. This is a liter. That's 1 liter. So liter for volume. And then this would be about a gram. I'll tear it twice. This is 1 sheet of paper. So it's about 1/4 of a sheet of notebook paper or of copy paper. 1/4, that's about 1 gram. Doesn't weigh very much. And then you have your temperature standard units. So what are they? Celsius. So about 100 degrees Celsius. I'm going to ask you this. About 100 degrees C for the boiling point, and about 0 degrees C for the freezing point. Now I'm going to ask for the comparison standard units in Fahrenheit that we use here in the United States. So 100 C or 212 Fahrenheit. If you don't have it written down, a lot of you miss this. So 100 C / 212 Fahrenheit, boiling point. 212 Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Celsius. Freezing point, 0 degrees C and 32 degrees Fahrenheit. 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It's very cold in the valley today, so my guess is tonight it's going to get down close to 32 Fahrenheit or 0 degrees C. Now those are standard units, meter, liter, gram, Celsius. Standard units. A standard unit is a measurement word everybody knows and uses on a regular basis. So in the United States, we regularly use a yard, 36 inches. In the metric system, the standard unit is meter. A little bit more, 3 more inches than a yard. So standard unit, or liter, or gram, those are standard units for volume and weight. A standard unit, a measurement word everybody knows and uses. Standard unit. Or A little bit of brain glue. Standard unit. Measurement word everyone knows and uses. Got it in your journal? Under your metric system section, standard unit. Okay. Then I'm going to ask you for the King Henry again. I ask you to write this down. Here it is. It's an acronym for remembering the prefixes that you stick in front of meter, liter, or gram. King, kilo, 1,000. If you're talking about 1,000 grams, it's a kilogram. If you're talking about 1,000 meters, what is it? A kilometer, kilometer. If you're talking about 1,000 liters, what would that be? That would be 1,000 of these. That would be a lot. That would be a kiloliter. The beautiful thing about the metric system, you can interchange these prefixes. So 1,000 of them is a kilometer, a kilogram, or a kiloliter. Pretty cool. So next is if you're talking about 100 of each of them, and it's hecto. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. King, kilo, 1,000. Henry, hecto, 100. Died, deca, 10. By, base, 1.0, or just 1. Drinking, deci, 0.01. So that would be deci. Chocolate is centi, 0.01. So, or 100. And then milk is milli, because it's a little amount. I'll show you that in a minute. Milli. So a millimeter, or a milligram, or a milliliter. It's only 1,000th. So here it is right here. Milli, 1,000. Milli, right there. So look yours over and say it with me and with Mr. Phillip. You can read it, okay? But I want you to say it with me. Say it out loud. King, kilo, 1,000. Henry, hecto, 100. You can read it off here or off your journal. Then died, deca, 10. By, base, 1 or 1.0. Drinking, deci, 0.1. Chocolate, centi, right there, centi, 0.01. And then milk, milli, 0.001, 1,000th. Now you're going to have to know that. You're going to have to know this on the pop quiz. So study this. Really go after it tonight. Your homework is to study the metric system information. Okay? So go over it and over it and over it. Okay? Now I want to show you this, and I've got enough time. So check this out. This was a Christmas gift, and it was a bunch of chocolate. So it was chocolate bars like this. There were 6 of them. Now all 6 of these weighed 600 grams, or a little more than half of a kilogram. It's a lot of chocolate. So a kilogram would be a little bit more than twice this much. Okay? So, or 5 of these. 5 of these candy bars would be half of a kilogram, or 500, it would be, so 1 kilogram, so it would be 500 grams. Okay? Now, I want to show you something about a milli. It's not much. So, check this out. Let's say that I love these Andes mints. You know that, especially you 8th graders. who had me last year. I love these Andes mints. So let's say I said to you, you know what? I am happy to share some of this Andes mint with you. I'm going to give you 1 milligram of this mini candy bar. 1 milligram. So here's how much it is. Can you even see that little pinch? That's a milligram. Mr. C, you are so cheap. That's all you're going to give us? Yeah, I'm sharing a milligram. And then I get the other. Now this wasn't a gram, but I get the other. And in fact, how much was this? Let's see. Can I tell you? I tore the wrapper, so I can't exactly see what the amount was. So anyway, I think this was like, I want to say probably 100, no, probably 50 milligrams, not very much. Okay. So anyway, you said you were going to give that to us. Well, I can't stick it through the camera. Sorry about that. So Pinocchio knows. Okay. So a milligram is 1,000th of a gram. It's not very much. Not very much. Okay, I probably should just pop the rest of this in my mouth, right? I shall later. Now, I want to show you this. Santa Claus got a little mixed up in his directions and didn't make it to the Mesa Bunker house with this Christmas gift of mine. So, all right, he didn't make it. So, this is my favorite licorice. It's Australian black licorice, soft licorice. Oh, if you like black licorice, this is the best. This brand I discovered in Australia. It's Daryl Lee. They now sell it a lot of places. So maybe Target even. So anyway, if you like black licorice, a lot of people don't like it, but I've liked it. I don't know, I learned to like it as a kid. So look at that right there, and that's about maybe 5 centimeters or 5/100ths of a meter. Is it really? Let's see what exactly it is. It's actually only 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters. 3/100ths of a meter. 3 centimeters. Now let's say I said, I'm going to give you 1 millimeter of this black licorice. So I got out a really sharp knife and I cut about that much off that's on my thumb. Maybe a little bit. I'd probably be a little more generous and give a little bit more. That would be about 1 millimeter of this black licorice. Well, I'm sharing, I'm sharing. So anyway, so I give you 1 millimeter. It's not much, is it? Millimeter. Milligram. 1,000th of a gram or 1,000th of a meter. Or I love, let's stick that back. I love chocolate milk. Okay. Did I even bring my chocolate milk box? I didn't. I've got a chocolate milk box that has about it holds about half a liter. That's its volume. So anyway, if I said I'm going to give you 1 milliliter of the chocolate milk in that chocolate milk box, here's what it would be. I'd get out an eyedropper, suck up a little bit of the chocolate milk. It would be clean, of course. And I'd say, open up, and I'd go, ploop, 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 ploop. Just a few drops. And that would be 1 milli, because it's tiny, 1 milliliter of that chocolate milk. So kilo is 1,000 of them. Milli is only 1,000th. 1 over 1,000, or 0.001. Okay? So anyway, look over all that metric system information. You never know when a pop quiz is coming. Might be prepared for one tomorrow. And then study, also review all of that we went over today for Friday's test. So RRR, and you will remember. So I will see you on Downhill Day. So, and take it away, Mr. Phillip. Thank you.